आसा बाणी श्री रविदास जियो की एक ओंकार सतगुर प्रसाद। मृग मीन पृंग पतंग कुंचर एक दोख विनाश। पंच दोख साध जामहि ताकि केतक आस। The deer, the fish, the bumblebee, the moth, and the elephant, they are all destroyed because of their one single defect. So, the one who is filled with the 5 incurable defects and vices, what is the hope for such a being? माधो अविद्या हित कीन विवेक दीप मलीन रहा। O God, the whole world is engrossed in the love of ignorance that has cast its shadow on the lamp of knowledge. Because of the filth of ignorance, this lamp of clear vision has grown dim. Pause. त्रिगद जोन अचेत संभव पुण्य पाप सोच। मनुखा अवतार दुर्लभ तिहि संगत पोच। The form of creatures, like the creeping creatures, they live thoughtless lives and they cannot discriminate between good and evil. It is so difficult to obtain this human form. This is very invaluable incarnation, and yet we keep company with the low and have always vicious thoughts like wanton desires. जी जंत जहाँ जहाँ लग कर्म के बस जाए। काल फास अबध लागे कछ न चले उपाय। Wherever the beings and creatures are, they are born according to the karma of their past actions. The news of death is unforgiving, and it shall catch them. It cannot be warded off. रविदास दास उदास भज भ्रम तपन तप गुर ज्ञान। भगत जन पैहरन परमानंद करो निदान। O Ravidas, being detached and free from whims or worldly attachments, this God's devotee, God's slave, considers the Guru's guidance as the most fruitful penance. O God, O destroyer of fears of your humble devotees, make me supremely blissful in the end. आसा संत तुझी तन संगत प्राण। सतगुर ज्ञान जाने संत देवा देव। O Vaheguru, the saints who are an embodiment of your own self are a source of my life. They are my very existence. Through their holy company, through the Guru's guidance and teachings, I have realized that the holy saints are the greatest gods among all the gods. Sant ji sangat, sant katha ras, sant prem majhe dijhe deva dev raha. O God, enlightener of the gods, may I be blessed with the company of holy saints, along with their blissful discourses, by inculcating the love of the saints in my heart. Pause. संत आचरण संत चो मार्ग संत च उलग उलगणी और इक मांगो भगत चिंतामण जणी लखावो असंत पापी सण. The character of the saints, the lifestyle of the saints, and the service of the servants of the saints. O Vaheguru, may I be enabled to develop these by following their path and become the slave of the slaves of holy saints through your grace. O God, may I seek your worship as your greatest blessing through the company of saints. I have no desire to be in the company of the sinners who are engaged in vicious and sinful actions. So, O Vaheguru, may I never perceive the glimpse of such sinners. Ravidas pane jo jane so jane Sant anante antare nahi. Says Ravidas, he alone is wise who knows this. There is no difference between the saints and the infinite one and only God. Asa tum chandan hum irand bapure संग तुम्हारे पासा नीच रूखते ऊंच भय हैं गंध सुगंध निवासा. O Vaheguru, you're like the fragrant plant of sandalwood, chandan, while I'm like the castor plant without any qualities. But I always have my presence next to you only. The fragrance of your worship of a high order has presented within us such a change that we have attained a position of high caliber, as if we have grown into a tall tree from a small, insignificant plant. Madho सत्संगत शरण तुम्हारी हम अवगन तुम उपकारी राह. O God, I seek the sanctuary of the company of your saints. I am totally worthless and you are so benevolent. Pause. तुम मखतूल सुपेद सपियल हम बपुरे जस कीरा सत संगत मिल रही है माधो जैसे मधुप मखीरा. O Vaheguru, you're like the beautiful colored silk thread of yellow and white colors, whereas we are like the silkworm which gives up its life after producing the silk thread. We also give up all interest in this life without getting imbued with your love and devotion. O Vaheguru, I pray, listen to my prayers and grant me the boon of your company in the form of holy saints, just as the honeybee does not part company with the honeycomb and remains attached to it all the time. Jati ocha, pati ocha, ocha janam hamara, Raja Ram ki सेवन कीनी कह रविदास जमारा. My social status is low, my ancestry is low, my birth is low as well. I have not performed the service of that one and only God, says Ravidas the cobbler. Asa कहाँ भयो जो तन भयो छिन छिन प्रेम जाए तो डर पै तेरो जन. O Vaheguru, what would it matter even if my body were cut into pieces? If I were to lose your love, O Vaheguru, then your humble servant would be afraid. तुझे चरण अरविंद पवन मन पान करत पायो पायो रामैया तन रहाओ. Your lotus feet are the home of my mind. My mind is always immersed at your lotus feet, and it abides therein, where I partake the nectar of true name like the black wasp, having attained the treasure of your true name. Pause. संपत विपत पटल माया तन तामह मगन होत ना तेरो जन. प्रेम की जेवरी बांध्यो तेरो जन कह रविदास छूटे बो कवन गुन. Prosperity, adversity, property and wealth, they are all just Maya. Your humble servant is not engrossed in them. Your humble servant is tied by the rope of your love. Says Ravidas, what benefit would I get by escaping from it? Asa Hare 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 हर सिमरत जन गए निस्तर तरे रहा. All such beings who have recited the God's true name Har 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 Hare, they have blossomed forth with this love. By worshipping the God, those people who could never cross this ocean, they have successfully crossed the ocean of life. Pause. हर के नाम कबीर उजागर जन्म जन्म के काटे कागर. Kabir, the saint, has been acclaimed throughout the world by reciting God's true name, and his accounts of the ages of various forms of lives in cycle of rebirths have been torn and discarded. Nimat naam deo doodh piyaya तो जग जन्म संकट नहीं आया. Because of Namdev's devotion, the God himself drank the milk he offered. He shall not have to suffer the pains of reincarnation into this world again. He got emancipated from the torture of cycle of births and deaths. Jan Ravidas Ram Rang Rata यो गुर प्रसाद नरक नहीं जाता. O Ravidas, now I have been imbued with the God's love through Guru's grace as his devotee, so I have escaped from undergoing the torture of the hell. माटी को पुत्रा कैसे नचत है, देखे देखे सुने बोले दौड़ो फिरत है रहा. This human being produced of earth like a puppet dances and moves around with such an ego. He looks and listens, hears and speaks and runs around. Pause. जब कछ पावे तब गर्व करत है, माया गई तब रोवन लगत है, मन बच क्रम रस कसहि लुभाना, बिनस गया जाए कहूँ समाना. When this being acquires something, then one is inflated with ego. But when one's wealth is gone, then one starts crying and bewailing. In thought, word, and deed, this being is attached to the sweet and tangy flavors, but when he dies, no one knows where he is gone. कह रविदास बाजी जग पाई, बाजी गर सो मोह प्रीत बने आए. Says Ravidas, this whole world is just a dramatic play or siblings of destiny, and I have enshrined love for the God who is the star of the show. आसा बाणी भगत तन्ने जी की, एक ओंकार सतगुर प्रसाद. प्रमत फिरत बहु जन्म बिलाने, तन मन तन नहीं तीरे. लालच बिख काम लुभद राता, मन बिसरे प्रभ हीरे रहा. I wandered around through countless incarnations, all being engrossed in whims and dual-mindedness for many ages. This mind in this human body is never at peace and satisfied with wealth. This mind is engrossed in the poison of vices and sinful actions, like wanton desires, but has forsaken the nectar, jewel of God's true name. Pause. बिख फल मीठ लगे मन बोरे, चार विचार न जानिया. गुण ते प्रीत बड़ी अनपांती, जन्म मरण फिर तानिया. The poisonous fruit seems very sweet to this mind, which does not know the difference between good and evil, turning away from virtuous deeds. I've loved for other things. This love keeps on increasing, and I weave again the web of birth and death. जुगत जान नहीं हृदय निवासी, जलत जाल जम फंद परे. बिख फल संच परे मन ऐसे, परम पुरख प्रभ मन बिसरे. The person does not understand the way to the God who dwells within his heart. Burning in the trap, this person is caught by the noose of death, gathering the poisonous fruits. This person fills mind with them and forgets about God, who is the supreme being. ज्ञान परवेश गुरै तन दिया, ध्यान मान मन एक मय. प्रेम भगत मानी सुख जानिया, त्रिपत घाने मुक्त भय. The Guru has given the wealth of the spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Now, on practicing meditation, this mind has become one with Vaheguru, embracing loving devotional worship for the God. I've come to know peace. I'm satisfied totally, and I have been liberated. ज्योत समाए समानी जाके, अछली प्रभ पहचानिया. तन्ने तन पाया तरणी तर, मिल जन संत समानिया. Such beings who are filled with the divine light, they recognize the undeceivable God, that one and only, Vaheguru, Tanna has obtained the God, the sustainer of the world, as his wealth. Meeting the humble saints, he merges in the God. Mahalla Panjama Gobind 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 Sang Naam Deo Man Leena Aad Dam Ko Chipro Hoyo Lakhina Raha. Namdev, the saint, has been immersed in the God's true name by repeating Gobind all the time, so that an ordinary washerman having no value has become a millionaire by attaining the true God. Pause. Bunna tanna tyag kai प्रीत चरण कबीरा नीच कुला जो लाहरा भयो गुनी गहीरा. Kabir, the weaver belonging to a low caste, developed love for the lotus feet of the god, leaving all his weaving activities, and thus amassed the wealth and jewels of true name. रविदास टवंता टोर नीत तिन त्यागी माया परगट हुआ साध संग हर दर्शन पाया. Ravidas, who used to carry dead cows every day, renounced the world of Maya. He became famous in the Sadh Sangat, the company of the holy, and obtained the blessed vision of God's darshan. Sen nai vutkariya o kar kar sunya hirde vasya par brahm Bhagta mein ganya. Saint the barber, the village drudge, became famous in each and every house. The supreme God dwelled in his heart, and he was counted among the devotees. Eh bid sun ke jaat ro ut bhagti laga mile par takh gusaiya Tanna Vadpaga. Hearing all this, Tanna the Jat applied himself to devotional worship. The God of the universe met him personally. Tanna was so very blessed. Rechit chetas kina dyal damodar bibay na janas koi jeta meh ब्रह्मंड खंड को करता करे सुहोई रहा. O my mind, why do you not recite the true name and remember that God benefactor, who is your only protector, without anyone parallel to him? Even if you were to wander all around the world, God's will only prevails, and you will get the reward of your own actions as it pleases him. Pause. जननी केरे उदर उदक में पिंड किया 10 द्वारा देय हार गन में राखे ऐसा खसम हमारा. Our God is so powerful and merciful, who has sustained us in the mother's womb by creating this body of 10 outlets, and has maintained us with life in the fire of mother's womb. Kummi jal mahi tan tis bahar pankh kheer tin nahi पूरन परमानंद मनोहर समझ देख मन माही. The tortoise lives in water, while the offsprings are lying outside, where they could not be sustained by the female tortoise or by flying around themselves, as they have no wings. So let us clearly understand that the God enables them to survive even under these circumstances. पाखण कीट गुप्त हुए रहता ताचो मार्ग नाही कहे तन्ना पूरनता को मत रे जी डराही. The worm lies hidden under the stone. There is no way for worm to escape. Says Tanna, the perfect God takes care of him. Fear not, O my soul. आसा शेख फरीद जियो की बाणी एक ओंकार सतगुर प्रसाद. दिलों मोहब्बत जिनसे सच्चा जिन मन होर मुख होर से कांधे कच्चा. Those who are in complete love for God, their love is deep and heartfelt. They alone are true. Those who have one thing in their heart and something else in their mouth are judged to be false. रत्ते इश्क खुदाए रंग दीदार के विसरिया जिन नाम ते पुए पार थिए रहा. Those who are imbued with the love for the God, they are delighted by His vision. Those who forget the name of the God, they are a burden on this earth. Pause. आप लिए लड़ लाए दर दरवास से तिन तन जने दी माओ आए सफल से. Those whom the God attaches to the hem of His robe, they are the true, the righteous, they are true devotees at His door. Blessed are the mothers who give birth to them, and fruitful is their coming into this world. परवदगार अपार अगम बेअंत तू जिन्ना पछाता सच चुमा पैर मुँह. That God, who is the sustainer, who is the cherisher, He is infinite, unfathomable, and endless. Those who recognize that God, I kiss their feet. तेरी पनाह खुदाए तू बख्शंदगी शेख फरीद खैर दी जय बंदगी. I seek your protection, O forever forgiving God. Please bless Sheikh Farid with your bounty, your meditative worship. Asa बोले शेख फरीद प्यारे अल्लाह लगे एहो तन हो सी खाक निमाणी गोर करे. आज मिलावा शेख फरीद टाकिम कुंजड़िया मनो मचिंदड़िया रहा. Say Sheikh Farid, O beloved God, may we be imbued with your love always. This body will mingle with dust after being laid down in the grave. O Sheikh Farid, we could merge with the God in this human life only, provided we control our desires which are upsetting the mind. Pause. जे जाना मर जाइए कुम ना आइए झूठी दुनिया लग नाप बजाइए. If I were convinced that there will be no comeback to this life again after death, then I would not waste this life in the love of worldly falsehood. बोलिए सच धर्म झूठ न बोलिए जो गुर दसै वाट मुरीदा जोलिए. छैल लंगंदे पार गोरी मन तीरिया कंचन वन्ने पासे कलवत चीरिया. Let us always speak the truth with the righteous life. and not engage in falsehood. Let us follow the path like true disciples shown by the Guru. Seeing the youths being carried across this ocean of life successfully, the hearts of the other beautiful young soul brides, other beings are also encouraged and they are carried across. But those who side with the glitter of gold, they are cut down with the saw. शेख हयाती जग न कोई थिर रहा, जिस आसन हम बैठे केते बैस गया, कतिक कुंजा चेत डाओ सावण बिजलियाँ, सियाले सुहंदियाँ पिर गल बाहड़ियाँ, चले चलन हार विचारा ले मनो, गंडे दियां छे माह तुरंदियां हिक खिनो. O Sheikh, no one's life is permanent in this world. That seat upon which you are now sitting, many others have sat on it and have since departed. As the birds, swallows appear in the month of Kartik, forest fires in the month of Chet, and lightning in Sawan, and as the bride's arms adorn her husband's neck in the winter, just so the transitory human bodies pass away. Reflect upon this in your mind. It takes 6 months to form the body, but it breaks in an instant. जिमी पुछे असमान फरीदा, खेवट किन गए जालण गोरा नाल उलामे जी सहे. O Farid, the earth is asking the sky, where have the boatmen gone? Some have been cremated and some lie in their graves. Their souls are paying the price of their sins in the heavens. Ik onkar Satnam Karta Purakh Nirbhav Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Saipam Gur Prasad. राग गुजरी महला पहला, चौपदे कर पहला, तेरा नाम करी चनड़ाठिया, जे मन उरसा होए, करणी कुंगु जेरलै काट अंतर पूजा होए. If the mind were stabilized like a slab used for grinding sandalwood, with the true name made as the pieces of sandalwood, and the virtues were considered as the saffron, then only we could worship the God within ourselves. पूजा की जय नाम ध्याये, बिन नावे पूज न होए रहा. It is only by reciting God's true name that we could perform our worship, as without the support of true name there is no prayer or worship of God. Pause. बाहर देव पखालिए हैं, जे मन तो वै खोए, झूठ लहै जियो मांझिए, मोख प्याणा होए. Washing our body from outside does not give us any satisfaction, as it is through cleansing our mind alone that real worship is possible and the path to salvation is opened up. पशु मिले चंगियाइयां, खड़ खावे अमृत दे, नाम विहूणे आदमी त्रिग जीवन कर्म करे. The animals are praiseworthy as they eat only grass but give us the nectar of milk. Cursed be the person without having the support of true name, as such a person partakes of dainty foods and give out filth. As such, their role is linked with the fruitless life, which is like a curse. नीड़ा है दूर ना जाने हो, नित सारे संभाले, जो देवै सो खावना, कहो नानक साचा है. The God, Vaheguru, is near at hand. Do not think that He is far away. He always cherishes us and remembers us. Whatever He gives us, we eat. O Nanak, He is the true God. Gujari Mahalla Pehla, नाभ कमल ते ब्रह्मा उपजे, वेद पढ़े मुख कंठ सवार, ताको अंत न जाई लखना, आवत जात रहे गुहार. From the lotus of Vishnu's navel, Brahma was born. He chanted the Vedas with a melodious voice. He could not find the God's limits, and he remained in the darkness of coming and going. प्रीतम क्यों बिसरहे मेरे प्राण आधार, जाके भगत करहे जन पूरे, मुन जन सेवह गुर विचार रहा. Why should I forget my beloved God, who is the fountainhead, who is the source of my very life, and whom all the munis and saints are serving by body and mind? Pause. रव सस दीपक जाके त्रिभुवन, एका ज्योत मुरार, गुरमुख होए सो ऐनिस निर्मल, मनमुख रैण अंधार. That Vaheguru, whose lamps of sun and moon are illuminating all the three worlds, and whose greatness is known all over the universe, the three worlds, destroys our egoism. The Guru-minded people always perceive that God day and night, who shines like a pure light, whereas the self-willed, faithless people are always groping in the darkness of ignorance. सिद्ध समाध करे नित झगड़ा, दुलोचन क्या हेरै, अंतर ज्योत शबद तुन जागै, सतगुर चगर निबेरै. The Siddhas and mendicants are engrossed in their wranglings due to dual-mindedness, viewing their own beliefs as the correct ones, whereas the people enlightened with the Guru's guidance, they perceive the prime soul as the illuminating light, pervading everywhere in equal measure. Thus the realization of truth settles all their quarrels or discussions. सुर नर नाथ बेअंत अजोनी, साचै महल अपारा, नानक सहज मिले जग जीवन, नदर करहो निस्तारा. The God, the true master of all the men and gods, is limitless and free from cycle of rebirths, and is truly great beyond our reach. O Nanak, that God, the fountainhead of all life, is attained through knowledge and enables all beings to cross this ocean of life successfully through His grace. राग गुजरी महला तीजा, कर पहला एक ओंकार, सतगुर प्रसाद. त्रिग इवेहा जीवना, जित हर प्रीत न पाए, जित कम हर विसरै, दूजे लगे जाए. Such a life is worthless and is to be cursed that does not dwell up the love of Vaheguru, cursed with the worldly chores and all other functions which lead to man's involvement in dual-mindedness, being engrossed in worldly falsehood and forgetful of the God. ऐसा सतगुर सेवियै मना, जित सेवियै गोविंद प्रीत उपजै, अवर विसर सब जाए, हर सेति चित गहर है, जरा का पाँव न होवै, जीवन पद में पाए रहा. O my mind, let us serve that true Guru, whose service will inculcate God's love and devotion in our hearts, while discarding all worldly attachments. We should get completely immersed in God's true name, so that we may learn the art of living along with the ideal of life, gaining eternal bliss by ridding ourselves of the fear complex of old age. Pause. गोबिंद प्रीत स्यों एक सहज उपजया, वेख जैसी भगत बनी, आप सेती आप खाया, तामन निर्मल होआ, ज्योति ज्योत समाई. We could attain such a state of mind in the state of equipoise along with God's devotion, which normally holy saints only achieve by acquiring knowledge of God's secrets. By attaining self-realization, we get rid of our egoism, the heart also gets purified and the soul merges with the prime soul, being enlightened with the mission of life. बिन पागा ऐसा सतगुर न पाए, जे लोचै सब कोय, कूड़े की पाल विचों निकलै, तां सदा सुख होए. Even though everyone wishes to attain such a guru, but he is not attained without good fortune and without Vaheguru's predestined will. Thus the human being enjoys the bliss of life when through the Guru's grace this wall curtain of ignorance is removed between the soul and the prime soul, bringing enlightenment of the mind. नानक ऐसे सतगुर की क्या, ओ सेवक सेवा करे, गुरु आगे जियो तरे, सतगुर का पाना चित्त करे, सतगुर आपे कृपा करे. O Nanak, what service can the servant perform for such a great true Guru, Satguru? One should offer one's life, the very soul, to the Guru. If one focuses consciousness on the will of the true Guru, then the true Guru himself will bless that person. Gujari Mahalla तीजा, हर की तुम सेवा करो, दूजी सेवा करो न कोई जी, हर की सेवा ते मनो चिंदिया, फल पाइए, दूजी सेवा जन्म बिरथा जाए जी. Let us serve the true God. Do not serve anyone else. Serving that true God, one obtains the fruits of one's heart's desires. Serving others, one's life passes away in vain. हर मेरी प्रीत रीत है हर मेरी कथा कहानी जी, गुर प्रसाद मेरा मन पीजै, एहा सेव bani jiyo raha. Vaheguru is my love, He is my way of life. The God is my speech and my conversation. By Guru's grace, my mind is saturated with God's love. This is what makes up my service. Pause. Har mera simrit, har mera shastra, har mera bandhap, har mera pai, har की मैं भूख लागे, हर नाम मेरा मन तृपतै, हर मेरा साक अंत होए सखाई. The God is my Smritis, the God is my Shastras, that Vaheguru, the God is my relative and He is my brother. I am hungry for the God always. My mind is satisfied with the name of God. The God is my relation, my helper in the end. Har bin ਹੋਰ ਰਾਸ ਕੂੜੀ ਹੈ ਚੱਲਦਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਨਾ ਜਾਈ ਹਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਤਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਥ ਚਾਲੇ ਜਹਾਂ ਹੋਂ ਜਾਓ ਤਹ ਜਾਈ. Without Vaheguru, all other treasure and wealth I have is false. They do not go with the mortal. When one departs, the God is my true wealth, which shall go with me. Wherever I go, it will go. So झूठा जो झूठे लागे, झूठे कर्म कमाई. कहे नानक हर का पाना होआ कहना कछु न जाई. Those who are attached to falsehood, they are false. False are the deeds they do. O Nanak, everything happens according to the will of the God. No one has any say in this at all. गुजरी महला तीजा जुग माहे नाम दुलंब है गुरमुख पाया जाए बिन नावे मुकत न होवे वेखो को व्यो पाए. Vaheguru's true name is the greatest and invaluable gem in this world, which could be attained only through the Guru's guidance. Even if you were to ponder and consider it thoroughly, it will be clear that none has so far attained salvation without the support of true name. Balihari Guru Apne सद बलिहारे जाओ सतगुर मिलिए हर मन वसै सहजे रहे समाए रहाओ. I am forever sacrificed to my Guru. I am sacrificed to him. Meeting the Satguru, my true Guru, the Vaheguru has come to dwell in the mind and one remains absorbed in him. Pause. Jaan pao paaye apna beirag upjai man aaye beirage te har paaye har syo rahe samaye. When Vaheguru puts his fear in us, a balanced detachment springs up in the mind. Through this detachment, Vaheguru is obtained and one remains absorbed in him all the time. Se mukat je man jinhe fir तात न लागे आए दसवें द्वार रहत करे त्रिपवन सोझी पाए. They alone are truly liberated those who conquer their mind. The Maya does not stick to them again. They dwell in the 10th gate and obtain the understanding of the three worlds. Nanak gur te gur hoya, ਵੇਖੋ ਤਿਸ ਕੀ ਰਜਾਏ, ਇਹੋ ਕਾਰਣ ਕਰਤਾ ਕਰੇ, ਜੋਤੀ ਜੋਤ ਸਮਾਏ. O Nanak, through the Guru one becomes the Guru. Behold his wondrous will. This deed was done by the Creator God. One's light merges into the light. The Guru-minded people, after attaining the heights of a concentrated mind through Guru's guidance, enable others as well towards salvation. We should appreciate that whatever happens is ordained by God's will, but it all rests with the God as He initiates such causes that lead us to merge our soul with Prime Soul. Finally, it is through the God's grace that such Guru-minded people are united by the God with Himself. Gujri mahalla tija, Ram Ram sabko kahe, kaiye Ram na hoye, Gur prasadi Ram man vasai, ta phal paave koye. Everyone tries to chant and show off reciting Ram's name in the world, but it is not really worthwhile just repeating Vaheguru's name with the tongue only. But one inculcates the God's true name in the heart when Guru's grace is bestowed on someone, and only a few people get the benefit of reciting God's true name. Antar Govind jis lage preet, har tis kade na visare, har har karhe sada man cheet. One who enshrines love for Vaheguru within one's mind never forgets the God. Such a person continually chants the God's name Har Har in one's conscious mind. Pause. Hirday jin kya kapat vasai, baharon sant kahaye, trisna mula chukai, ant gaye pachtaye. Such people whose hearts are actually full with hypocrisy, they call themselves saints, only they call this as an outward show. Their desires are actually never satisfied, and they depart grieving in the end. Anek tirath je jatan kare, tantar ki ho main kade na jaye, जिस नर की दुविधा न जाए, धर्म राय तिस दे सजाए. One may bathe in many places of pilgrimages, still one's ego cannot depart. Such people whose sense of duality cannot depart, the righteous judge of dharma always punishes them. Karm hovai soi jan paaye, gurmukh bujai koi, nanak vichon ho main mare, tahar pete soi. Only such humble beings onto whom Vaheguru showers his mercy, they obtain him. How few are the Gurmukhs who understand him. O Nanak, if one conquers one ego within, then only one can come to meet with the God. Gujri mahalla tija, तिस जन शांत सदा मत नेह चल, जिसका अभिमान गवाए, सो जन निर्मल जे गुरमुख बुझै, हर चरणी चित लाए. Such a person who is enabled by Vaheguru to get rid of egoism attains peace of mind, and conscious of such a person is freed from the effects of worldly falsehood, Maya, and stabilizes in God's love. Such a person attains self-realization by seeking refuge at the lotus feet of Vaheguru through Guru's guidance and accepting his teachings at heart, and gets purified. हरि चेत अचेत मनाए, जो इच्छे सो फल होई, गुरु प्रसादी हर रस पावहि, पीवत रहे सदा सुख होई. Rahau. O my unconscious, foolish mind, you should remember Vaheguru so that you could achieve fulfillment of your desires and acquire whatever you had wished for. You could attain the nectar of God's true name through Guru's grace so that you could enjoy eternal bliss by partaking the nectar of true name and getting immersed in God's devotion all the time. Pause. Satguru pete tau paras hoye, पारस होए ता पूज कराए, जोस पूजे सो फल पाए, दीख्या देवे साज बुझाए. The Guru-minded people who meet the true Guru, Sadguru, they become the philosopher's stone themselves, with the ability to transform others, inspiring them to worship that one and only God. One who worships that Vaheguru in adoration obtains his rewards, instructing others. Such people reveal the truth. Vinu par sai puj na hove, vinu man parche avra samjhaye, Guru sadaye agyani andha, kiso marg paaye. Without becoming the philosopher's stone yourself, one cannot inspire others to worship the God. Without instructing one's own mind, how can one instruct others? The ignorant blind man calls oneself the Guru, but to whom can such a person show the way? Nanak vin nadri kichu na paaye, jis nadar kare so paaye, Gur prasadi devadiyai, apna shabad varthaye. O Nanak, without his mercy nothing can be obtained. One upon whom he casts his glance of grace obtains him. By Guru's grace, Vaheguru bestows greatness and projects the word of his Shabad. Gujri Mahalla Tija Panchpade, Na kasi mat upjay, na kasi mat joy, Satguru miliye mat upjay, tahi soji paaye. Wisdom is not produced in Kasi, in Benares, nor is wisdom lost in Benares. Only when you meet the true Guru, Sadguru, wisdom is produced, and then one obtains the true realization. Har katha tu sun re man, shabad man vasaye, eh mat teri thir rahe, ता परम विचो जाए रहा. Listen to the sermon of that God, O my mind, and enshrine the Shabad of His word within your mind. If your intellect remains stable and steady, then doubt shall depart from within you. Pause. हर चरण हृदय वसाए तू किल विख होवहि नास पंच भूआत्मा वास करहे ता तीरथ करहे निवास. Enshrine Vahiguru's lotus feet within your heart. All your sins can be erased this way. If your soul overcomes the 5 elements, then you shall come to have a home at the true place of pilgrimage. मन मुखे हो मन मुगद है सोची किछु न पाए हर का नाम न बुझई अंत गया पछताए. The mind of a manmukh, a faithless person, is so foolish and self-centered, it does not obtain any understanding at all. It cannot understand the name of Vahiguru, and it departs repenting in the end. इह मन कासी सब तीरथ सिमरत सतगुर दिया बुझाए अठसठ तीरथ तिस संग रहे जिन हर हृदय रहा समाए. We can find Kasi, Banaras in this mind itself. We can find all sacred shrines of pilgrimage and Shastras also in there. The true Guru has explained this. The 68 places of pilgrimage remain with one whose heart is filled with Vahiguru. Nanak Satguru miliye hukum bujhiya ek vasya man aaye जो तुद पावै सब सच है सच्चे रहै समाए. O Nanak, upon meeting the true Guru, the order of God's will is understood and the one God comes to dwell in the mind. Those who are pleasing to you, O true God, they are true, they remain absorbed in you. गुजरी महला तीजा एको नाम निधान पंडित सुन सिख सच सोई दूजे पाए जेता पढ़े पढ़त गुणत सदा दुख होई. The one name is the true treasure, O Pandit. Listen to these true teachings. No matter what you read in duality, reading and contemplating it, you shall only continue to suffer. हर चरणी तू लाग रहो गुर शब्द सोजी होई हर रस रसना चाख तू ता मन निर्मल होई रहा. O Pandit, you can realize the God's secrets, all the truth, by taking refuge at the lotus feet of Guru and following the Guru's word. You could purify your heart and partake the nectar of God's true name with your tongue. Pause. Satguru miliye man santokhiye ता फिर तृष्णा भूख न होए नाम निधान पाया पर कर जाए न कोए. You can attain peace and tranquility of mind by meeting, uniting with the true Guru, which could satiate your worldly desires and your hunger for more possessions. Once a person attains the treasure of true Nam, then this person does not falter around in worshipping other gods in dual-mindedness. Having attained self-realization, this person does not wander around. कथती बदनी जे करे मनमुख बूझ न होए गुरमति कट चानना हर नाम पावे सोए. The self-willed people, in spite of their discourses, including sermons and poetry, they do not realize the true God, the truth. The treasure of true name is attained by Guru-minded people only who have been enlightened with Guru's guidance. सुन शास्त्र तू ना बुझे ता फिरे बारों बार सो मूरख जो आप ना पछाणे सच ना तरे प्यार. You have not attained self-realization by listening, reading to the Shastras and understanding them, and you are undergoing cycles of births and rebirths again and again. Such a person, in fact, is a fool who has not realized truth or attained self-realization by inculcating the love of true God in one's heart, even though this person can call himself a Pandit. Sachai jagat dekaya kehna kuch न जाए नानक जो तिस पावै सो करे ज्यों तिस की रजाए. The true God himself has led the whole world astray by developing the love of Maya. The falsehood, as such, nothing more can be said about it. No one has any say in it at all. O Nanak, he does whatever he pleases according to his will. Ik Onkar Satgur Prasad Rag Gujri Mahalla Chautha Chaupade Kar Pehla. हर के जन सतगुर सतपुरखा हों बिनो करो गुर पास हम कीरे किरम सतगुर शरणाई कर दिया नाम परगास. O true Guru, O personification of true God and embodiment of truth, my only prayer to you is that I, the one of the humblest and lowliest of the creatures, as a slave has sought refuge at your doorstep to beg of you for the boon of true name. I am an insect, a worm, O true Guru, I seek your sanctuary. Please be merciful and bestow upon me the light of Nam, the name of the God. मेरे मीत गुरुदेव मुख राम नाम परगास गुरमत नाम मेरा प्राण सखाई हर कीरत हमरी रहे रास रहा. O my true friend and my Guru, I only beseech you to enlighten me with the true name through your grace so that I may appreciate the real meaning of true name. O Guru, this true name attained through the Guru's guidance and teachings will be my bodyguard and solace of mind. My only prayer to you, O Guru, is to bestow on me your grace so that I may always sing the praises of the God. Pause. हर जन के वड पाग वडेरे जिन हर हर सरदार हर प्यास हर हर नाम मिलै तृप्ता से मिल संगत गुण परगास. The God's servants, they have the greatest, best fortune. They have faith in Vaheguru, Har Har, and they have thirst for the God. obtaining the name of the God, Har, they are satisfied. Joining the company of the holy, their virtues shine forth. जिन हर 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 रस नाम न पाया, ते पागहीन जम पास। जो सतगुर शरण संगत नहीं आए, त्रिग जीवे त्रिग जीवास। Such people who have not obtained the sense of the name of the God, Har, they are the most unfortunate ones. They are taken away by the messenger of death. Those who have not sought the sanctuary of true Guru and the company of the holy, cursed is their lives and cursed is their hopes of life. जिन हर जन सतगुर संगत पाए, तिन तुर मस्तक लिखिया लिखास। तन तन सत संगत जित हर रस पाया, मिल नानक नाम परगास। The humble servants of Vaheguru, the Guru-minded people who have attained the company of holy saints through Guru's grace were predestined in fact by the God to this great fortune from eternity as per God's will. O Nanak, blessed are the holy congregations of the Guru from whom I had the chance to relish God's true name. May the Guru bestow on me the company of the holy saints so as to enlighten me with self-realization by inculcating true name in my heart. Gujri Mahalla Chautha, Govind Govind Pritam, Man Pritam, Mil Sat Sangat Shabad Man Moh, Jap Govind Govind Tyaya, Sab Ko Daan De Prabhu Hai. The God of the universe, is the beloved of the minds of those who join the Sat Sangat, the true congregation. The Shabad of His word fascinate their minds. Let us chant and meditate on that one and only Vaheguru, the God of the universe. God is the one who gives gifts to all. Mere Pai Jana, Moko Govind 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 Man Moh, Govind 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 Gun Gawa, Mil Gur Sad Sangat Jan So Hai Raha. O my brother, I am completely enamored by the God's true name in body and mind, and I am reciting God's Govind's true name all the time. As such, I am always singing the praises of the God in the company of holy saints. One appears beautiful and praiseworthy in the company of holy saints. Pause. Sukh Sagar Har Bhagat Hai, Gurmat Kola Rid Siddh Lage Pago Hai. जन को राम नाम आधारा, हर नाम जपत हर नामे सो है. Such people who have worshipped the true God, the ocean of all bliss and virtues, they have been bestowed with all the occult powers, riddhis, siddhis, wealth, all lying at their lotus feet. We, the slaves, the humble beings of the God, have the support of true name without bothering about any of these occult powers, and we look beautiful and honorable while reciting true name. Durmat Pag Heen Mat Fike, Naam Sunat Ave Man Rohe. Kawa काग को अमृत रस पाइए, तृप्तै विष्टा खाए मुख गो है. Evil-minded, unfortunate and shallow-minded are those who feel anger in their minds when they hear the name of the God. You may place ambrosial nectar before crows and ravens, but they will be satisfied only by eating manure and dung with their mouths. अमृत सर सतगुर सतवादी जितना तय कौआ हंस हो है नानक तन तन वड्डे वड पागी जिन गुरमत नाम हृदय मल तो है. The true Guru, the speaker of the truth, is the pool of ambrosial nectar. Anyone bathing within it, even the crow becomes a swan. O Nanak, blessed and fortunate are those who through Guru's teachings with the Naam wash away the filth of their hearts. Gujri Mahalla Chautha हर जन उत्तम उत्तम बाणी मुख बोले परोपकारे जो जन सुने शरदा भगत सेती कर कृपा हर निस्तारे. The great disciples of beloved God speak a great language. Their language speaks volumes of their greatness, and whatever they say is meant for the welfare of others. Whosoever listens to their words with love and devotion is helped by the God through His grace in crossing this ocean of life successfully. Ram moko har jan mel pyare मेरे प्रीतम प्राण सतगुर गुर पूरा हम पापी गुर निस्तारे रहा. O omnipresent God, may I be united with your beloved saints, the beloved true Guru, praiseworthy and perfect in all respects, would help this sinner of mine to cross this ocean of life successfully. Pause. गुरमुख वड पागे जिन हर हर नाम धारे हर हर अमृत हर रस पावहे गुरमत भगत भंडारे. The fortunate Guru-minded people are really great, being predestined by God's will as they have taken the support of God's true name. The Guru-minded people who have recited true name with love and devotion always partake the nectar of true name, attaining the treasure of God's worship through Guru's guidance. जिन दर्शन सतगुरु सत पुरख न पाया ते पागहीन जम मारे से कुकर सुकर गर्धभ पवै गर्भ जोनी दय मारे महा हत्यारे. Those who do not obtain the blessed vision of darshan of true Guru, the true primal being, they are most unfortunate. They are destroyed by messenger of death. They are like dogs, pigs, and donkeys. They are cast into the womb of reincarnation, and God strikes them down as the worst of murderers. दीन दयाल हो जनों पर कर कृपाले हो बारे नानक जन हर की शरणाई हर पावे हर निस्तारे. O God, O kind to the poor, may through your grace and benevolence may I be saved from going into various forms of life in the cycle of rebirths. Please help me attain salvation. O Nanak, we have taken refuge at God's lotus feet. May the God bestow such people with His grace and salvation whom He is pleased with.